There's something special about putting the work in first thing in the morning on the track. I don't know what it is. If it's a hard effort, it's the beautiful sunrise, but it's always got me excited to put that work in that we know that's gonna improve our top end speed, so that when we're running those marathon paces, that we're able to run those faster paces easier. We do have 800-meter repeats right now. Some of my favorite workouts I've ever done are 800s. I don't know why it is, because it's not necessarily a mile long probably, and it's not necessarily a dead sprint like a 400 or a 100. So we're about to get started right now. Let's do it, baby. Drinking my carb electrolyte mix in between sets. Make sure we stay hydrated. Make sure we stay fueled. I build the workouts into my watch, so I don't cheat the workouts. Highly recommend, if you want to get better, build the workouts into your watch so you don't cheat the rest. All right, 10 seconds. Here we go. It's not even motivation or discipline, it's focus. I'm right now eating post swim meal, and sometimes during my swims, my split times, they get a little slower. And I get mad. But it's my own fault, because I lose focus when I'm swimming on these sets. Maybe I'm not pulling as hard. It's not even a lack of effort. It's just my focus on being intentional with each individual lap. And that applies to every area in life. For example, this morning, we did my track workout, right? And it was good. I have the workout built into my watch. And that little bit of accountability from the watch, like beep, 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 beep. All right, rest is over, go. That makes a big difference. It really does. It's just so interesting how much endurance training, or just training so hard where you're giving everything you have to build towards something, what it teaches you. Just like what it takes and what you learn about yourself and where you are. Right now I am eating some ground turkey and rice. It's a heaping full with barbecue sauce on top. I did a track workout today, 800 meters. I went to work. We just did a swim. And now we're gonna work on the business. And what does that even look like? Working on our documentary, fine-tuning that so we can get ready for an official release date. Sharing on social media, whether that's my LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, different platforms. Getting some deliverables out for some clients and trying to find different ways to attract new clients to our business. Tomorrow we're gonna hit a 3-hour endurance ride. And this isn't even my long ride. Sometimes I feel that little voice in the back of my head. I'm like, oh man, 3 hours. But it's gonna be awesome. I know it. This is the work that's required to get the work done. I'm excited actually. See, I mean, there's that attitude mindset change. It'll be fun. I kind of feel like a failure after taking the bike back indoors. It was supposed to be a 4-hour ride outside. And to be honest, I even contemplated not riding outdoors at all because I thought that I would it would be too windy outside. So, but I decided, okay, let's practice the resistance training. Let's practice riding outdoors. You can't always ride inside. So I did. And I got about 2 hours in. It was super windy. I was getting crosswinds. My bike speed was going down to like 15 miles per hour. I don't know if you're supposed to just endure the super high winds, just push through. I'm still new to cycling, but I rode home and do the back on the trainer. I'm gonna do about 90 more minutes indoors to hit that 4-hour mark. Make sure we get our volume, and then do our brick run. So this is living proof that I'm not a full-time athlete. I'm currently working on productizing an offer for my marketing firm. May not be interesting to some of you, but this is a part of what helps me make money. The athletic stuff is something I'm pursuing. This is my career. So I'm trying to make it easier for the buyers to understand what my firm offers that can help them out the solution. That's a wrap. Week 3, or AKA week 17 in this prep, 18 and a half hours complete. This is the most amount of hours we've put in on this prep. Not the most I've ever done in my other preps. I think last year we got up to around 24 hours tops. What you've seen this week was a track workout. We had an endurance ride. We had a long ride. And I'm feeling very strong on this volume, actually. More than last year. And I think it's because of I'm fueling better. I'm taking more sodium and more carbs. I'm not going to tell you I'm sleeping better. I'm not sleeping that great. Probably averaging 5 hours of sleep on average. So not the best. I need to work on that. My overall intensity is being controlled. And we talked about this last week, controlled intensity. And we're going into a deload week next week, which is you reduce the volume so you can absorb the last few weeks of training. And I used to sometimes skip those, and then the burnout comes crashing in, the fatigue comes crashing in. We're definitely not doing that this prep. I also love deload weeks because it allows me to have more time to focus on my business, to focus on things that need attending to, whether that's hanging out with friends. Mainly just the business though. Honestly, I'll be real. I get at least 4 or 5 hours back into my week to do some deep work. So that's a wrap for the week on the training side of things. We did hit a roadblock this week. Ironman California is sold out. It's sold out way quicker this year than last year. And that was supposed to be the race I was going to do this October. It's the one I did last year. It's the one that I made the documentary on. My first ever Ironman. I was coming back to get a sub 10 Ironman and just get redemption overall to improve on last year's performance. So now I have no official race on the calendar. What am I going to do? I'm going to train just as planned. Nothing really changes on the training block. I'm going to train just exactly the same as I would be training for Ironman California. And I know some people would tell me to go pivot to a 70.3. I understand the push to pivot to that, but I just don't have any desire to do a 70.3. And there's a couple of them in my state, California, that I contemplated doing, but I don't want to do a race just to have one on the calendar. Maybe it would be a good idea to sign up for a 70.3 to focus on some speed. I don't know. I'm not a professional. I couldn't tell you the right answer. I don't know if there is a right answer to what to do here. I will tell you this though. My fitness is improving. I'm feeling strong. This is probably the best my fitness has been since going into Ironman California last year. But here's the catch. I'm still 17 weeks out from that race I was supposed to do. So I still have a lot of fitness to build, and that's super exciting. I might do a DIY 140.6 Ironman in my hometown. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do that for sure, or if I'm just going to build a big base for next year's races or next year's projects that I have planned. But as of right now, business is going to continue on as usual. We're going to train like we're training for this race, even though there's absolutely no way to get into this race this year. There's not even a charity spots open in the race. So I was a little bummed out about that, but I do think it was a blessing in disguise more than I realized. That I was pretty bummed out at first. It taught me a big lesson. It taught me that I cannot be fueled by winning. And I'm by no means saying that I was going to win that race, but I'm talking about the idea of winning or competing and beating others, beating my time, trying to get the status of X, Y, and Z goal. I think competition is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for competing with yourself, competing against others. But when it gets bad is when you start letting your ego take over. That's not good. And this race selling out allowed me to reflect inwards and realize that I don't need a race to be on the calendar for me to justify this big training block, this 18.5 hour training block. I don't need it. I don't need to have one on there. I don't need a medal to justify doing these hard things. I do have some major undisclosed projects on the business side of things and on the fitness side of things. So regardless if I'm going to race this fall, which I'm sad about because I wanted to make a documentary on me overcoming this race and coming back again, regardless of that, it's going to help me build the right fitness, the right discipline, the right mindset to attack these goals and to overcome them, or I guess achieve them. And I'm super excited for that. So we're going to go into week 16 next week, like we're going into the prep. And this week is going to be a deload week. It's going to be very light on the training. We're bringing it back about 40% of what we did this week. I'm gonna have to fight that ego to not try to add extra yardage or volume in on any of the disciplines. I'm a little surprised that I'm still doing this. Not really. I'm committed to it at least for this 18-week prep, and the plan is to show you guys the fitness documentation, to show you an average person with a day job, with someone trying to build a business, trying to train at an elite level, but an average person, average athlete. Goals inspire you guys to take action in whatever areas you're trying to get to. So I'll see you next week.